I sort of knew the story of the 1972 Olympics, but I'm kind of embarrassed to say that it was mainly because of the film Munich, directed by Steven Spielberg. So I wasn't that interested in seeing this movie. I thought it would be a pretty dry historical movie. And I got to tell you, I was dead wrong. And it may be one of my favorite films of 2024. I just didn't get to screen it until its wide release. So let me tell you why I love this film and why you should check it out. September 5, directed by Tim Fehlbaum, tells the true story of the 11 Israeli hostages taken captive by a Palestinian terrorist group called Black September in the 1972 Olympics in Munich, Germany. A story is told through the eyes of the ABC sports team covering the Olympics and the first ever live coverage Olympics event and the first terrorist event also caught live while 900 million people watched. The film is really about what the responsibility is of a news station while covering a tragedy live. What is ethical to show live and what isn't?
What do I tell the cameras?
What do you mean?
I mean, can we show someone being shot on live television?
The whole world is watching. If they shoot someone on live television, whose story is that?
That's something that I think really relates to us today when everyone has a video camera in their pocket. It's also worth mentioning that this film is also produced by Sean Penn. The film stars John Magaro as Jeffrey Mason, a somewhat new ABC sports producer who becomes part of helping produce and cover the breaking news of the terrorist attack as it unfolds. He's trying to prove himself as a producer, especially to Rennie Aldridge, the president of ABC Sports, played by Peter Sarsgaard, who is also the head producer for the 1972 Olympics. As the hostage situation unfolds, the question is, what is the ethical thing to do when showing a tragedy on live TV? Now, if you're thinking that seems kind of boring, it's not, and here's a few reasons why. Most of the film is all in a studio. Fehlbaum had the ABC Sports studio in Munich recreated. There's no false walls for the camera to move in and out to get the shots they need. It was all done in a cramped studio shoot, documentary style. Lots of handheld shots that keep the tension going with the unsteady hand of the camera operator. The camera actually makes you feel as if you're a spectator in the room watching everything go down with the rest of the crew. And that is one of the first things that I loved about this film. You only see what the reporters see at the time that they see it. You don't get the perspective of the hostages or the terrorist. You're in the control room watching everything go down with everyone else, and that keeps the suspense alive and real. The anticipation of waiting to hear what's going on. We're left in the dark with the characters in the movie, and it works incredibly well. Even knowing a lot of the story, I felt like as I was watching the film, I forgot what happened in the real event, and I was on the edge of my seat wondering what was going to happen next. It gives you the feeling that the 900 million viewers had while watching it live probably felt. When you hear the first gunshots, you hear it off in the distance with a couple of the ABC Sports staff. The film doesn't cut to the hostage situation. I think this was really important for the film because we didn't know what we were about to see. We are feeling what the ABC crew are feeling. We are asking the same questions that they are. It's an amazing way to tell a story like this one. I also loved how they used actual footage shot from ABC Sports back in 1972. Everything from the Olympic events going on to the terrorists looking out the window. All the footage of anchor Jim McKay was real as he's reporting the hostage situation live. The director didn't want to recreate these scenes because for one cost, but mainly for authenticity. And the look of the film combined with the look of the actual footage blends so well that it's hard to tell if the footage is real or if it was recreated. The actual footage of the terrorist was haunting and made the hairs on my arms stand up and give me the chills while I was watching it. The set design was well thought out, and what I can only imagine was a nightmare to put together. All of the actual production TV studio equipment was borrowed from collectors and museums, and they made sure that everything had to work. They train the actors how to use all of the equipment the right way. And John Magaro spent months in New York on a news show to learn how to actually call a news show in the control room. Everything looked authentic, from the cameras to the reel-to-reels, the analog screens, the telephones, and the way they made the lower thirds, or I guess the text on screen. Everything felt very, very real. So what was interesting to me was a scene where, while the hostage situation was going on, they were showing an area outside where all of the athletes were relaxing, playing ping pong, laying in the sun, having lunch, and laughing with other Olympians. They seemed so disconnected from what was going on just a mile or so away. And during a recorded Q&A after the film, Peter Sarsgaard explained it really well and talked about the gift and curse of how humans can so easily disassociate with tragedy around them, that it's a strength and a weakness of humanity. It's kind of a sobering thought, especially when you think about the fires in LA or pretty much anything on the news today. The film was shot mostly digitally in 8K with some 16mm film intertwined, but the digital was graded so well to look like film. I honestly couldn't tell. The way the camera moves in the tight studio spaces and chaotic scenes with incredible movement, a whole lot went into the blocking of these scenes. The precise camera angles bring you closer to the characters' emotional state. The performances were outstanding by John Magaro and Peter Sarsgaard. Sarsgaard has always been one of my favorite actors in films like Shattered Glass, Garden State. Not so much in Green Lantern. I don't really think that was his fault, though.
Hi.
But seriously, he has always been a fantastic actor, and he's perfect in this role. Benjamin Walker nailed the reporter Peter Jennings, who I didn't even realize was there in 1972. Leonie Benesch, I know I got that name wrong, plays the German translator to ABC Sports, and she was a great addition to the film. Her character actually didn't really exist, but the production wanted a representation of Germany in the studio, which makes sense. There's a fantastic scene with her and Hank Hansen, played by Corey Johnson, a Jewish man who lost his mother and father in the Holocaust, and they sort of have a discussion about Germany trying to get past, well, the past. The Holocaust being only 27 years from 1972, and I won't ruin it for you, but it's a great scene. The whole heaviness of the Olympics being held by the Germans after the war is felt by the audience watching it in the theater, and you see an obvious bias against the young Germans who weren't born yet during the Holocaust or were small children during the war. The German people sort of tiptoe around the Olympics more or less. September 5 is one of the best movies of 2024. It has some spectacular performances, especially by Magaro and Sarsgaard. The cinematography immerses you in 1972 and the games. The real footage used of the terrorist and the actual live broadcast are haunting and very heavy. This movie is full of emotion, and it makes you think about not only being desensitized by tragedy, but also what is our responsibility when it comes to the video cameras in our pocket. It's a history that needed to be told to a new generation, and the way it's told is a masterclass in writing and filmmaking. It's incredibly well-paced and a thrilling story. I'm giving September 5 stars out of 5 for all of these reasons and more. If you get a chance to see this film in theaters, you won't be disappointed. If you don't know the story of the 1972 Olympics, don't look it up until you've seen this film. Trust me on this. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love it if you did. It means so much to me and the channel. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.
The whole world is watching. If they shoot someone on live television, whose story is that? Is it ours or is it theirs?